Hi everyone. We are the David A. Ellis Elementary School team. My name is Wiyung and I'm a rising junior at Boston Latin School.
My name is Mubarak, and I'm a rising senior at Cambridge Ringen Latin.
My name is Jaden, and I'm a rising junior at Tech Boston. Starting with the overview, our site is located in the heart of Roxbury, right near Franklin Park Zoo. It is home to many minority groups, with over 56% of its population being Black or African American.
So our mission statement is as follows. Roxbury is home to a community that endures the dilemma of food insecurity. And within that community is an elementary school that additionally struggles with students who have come from and are going through adverse childhood experiences. With this site, we plan on creating an outdoor space that will safely and effectively address childhood trauma and food insecurity.
As Mubarak just said, a big focus of our project is addressing food insecurity. And according to USDA, food insecurity is a household level economic and social condition of limited or uncertain access to adequate food. In the neighborhood of Roxbury, 45% of the community is enrolled in SNAP benefits. And with SNAP benefits, eligibility depending on income, we recognize the need for Roxbury to have not only more food access, but also quality food that is affordable.
So the Ellis has a rich history and ties to what is now the National Center of Afro-American Artists, or the NCAAA, because prior to 1932, that's where the students attended. Before 1932, where the school was first founded as a first and second grade school and named in memory of David A. Ellis. And it wasn't until the late 1930s where the David A. Ellis Elementary became a K-5 school. During our site analysis, it was important to learn every aspect of the surrounding area and the community. So we took a look at some of the demographics of the school, and these were the most striking statistics that came up. Just over 95% of the students at the Ellis are Black and/or Hispanic, and that's 24% above the district average. And similarly, 95.5% of students are also considered high needs, which means student with disabilities, where they come from a low income background or are economically disadvantaged. And just over 50% of the students don't speak English as their first language, and 48% of students enrolled are still learning to speak English.
We also took a look at the community surrounding the school and found that most of the buildings around the school are either family residential or apartment buildings. Additionally, the school is surrounded by a softball field and a playground. So we really wanted to make sure that with our design that we're targeting the people that are already using the space, which are mostly families and students.
Going into structural zoning and surroundings, these are just some of the surrounding buildings and type of structures. The school being the largest in its vicinity. The surrounding space is partly cemented and green space. The blue is commercial with a pharmacy and a local market. Orange being institutional with the museum itself and a community center. And red being residential, which is some of the houses that exist in the space.
And with our outdoor classroom garden being a public space, we wanted to make sure that it was accessible with transportation. So we took a look at buses and found that there are a couple buses that are about an 8-minute walk away from the school. And taking them, you can either connect to the orange line or the red line. And here with this map, you can see the school in the middle and then the National Center of Afro-American Artists in the top right corner. And then highlighted in the purple are all the sites we're looking at to change. And as you can see, the site can be accessed through lots of different modes of transportation. We talked about buses, but there's also car, bikes, and walking. And here we have a map showing all the different entrances. You can enter the sites from multiple directions. And this map shows the present condition of all the different sites and the programs that we're implementing.
And here's our adjacency map of the existing structures with the elementary school and the garden. And here is our proposal. The outdoor classroom is being the starting area, which is going to be more of an instructional area. And that will lead into a shed that will contain tools for the hands-on areas, like the rain garden, the edible garden with the compost bin, and the chicken coop. And here is our seasonality programming chart with year-round program and activities. Like in the summer, you can harvest some food. In the fall, there's prepping for winter, and also performing arts, which has a lot to do with the museum. You could, in the winter, learn how to take care of chickens and, keeping them warm and keeping them healthy. And in the spring, start preparing for the planting season.
Now we're going to move on to our proposed design, and here's an overview. We are striving to create an outdoor space that serves multiple purposes for the community. And for the David A. Ellis School, we wanted to ensure that the space feels welcoming for there to be trauma-informed teaching. We also include several areas where people can gather and talk, or even take wandering paths around the curves. Although trauma-informed teaching occurs between the educator and the student, and the experience varies for everyone, we hope that this outdoor space will give opportunities for it to occur and for relationships to form. And our second goal is that this space will also be used by the community as a means for food access. So we want to keep in mind how to create a comfortable gardening experience by providing the programming that Jaden went over, so then the site can be maintained through the years.
So now we're getting into our outdoor classroom, which is located at the northernmost point of the site.
Yes. So right now, the existing space for the outdoor classroom is the current garden that's run by the school and City Sprouts. It includes lots of vegetables and compost bin. Our proposal is to relocate this edible garden to another part of this site, and then replace it with a classroom. We'll also be introducing a pollinator garden, and also a ramp to make it ADA accessible, because right now it is not.
So again, what was once the David Ellis Garden is now going to be the school's outdoor classroom, the heartbeat of our project. In our mission, managing adverse childhood experiences is one of the problems at the forefront of what we're aiming to address. Adverse childhood experiences vary a lot from child to child, but the first step in confronting this is to create an atmosphere that's safe and attentive to their needs. By implementing a dome-like structure that covers a seating area, it acts as an actual and metaphorical shelter to create an environment where trauma-informed teaching can take place. So here we have the existing edible garden, implementing seating, cedar flooring, and the dome-like structure. So for the materials and construction of the classroom, we paid a lot of attention to how we can address environmental elements of the site. Since it's located in an area that receives plenty of sunlight, we want a dome that was only partly transparent, so we could only use wood to block off sunlight and acrylic to let some light pass through. The hollow structural section steel beams serve as a skeleton of our classroom to ensure that it can stand against elements such as harsh wind, rain, snow. And lastly, it was important for us to include a ramp because the site is currently not accessible by wheelchair, and we want it to be inclusive for everyone.
Yeah, as you mentioned earlier, we wanted to implement a pollinator garden. And we thought that this could be a really great educational opportunity for students to learn about the importance of pollinators, and also just make them more immersed, have a more immersed experience with learning experience with food. They can learn about bees, and then also negative impacts of monocultures for bees.
And here is our general overview of the rain garden space. It is on the it's on the east side of the building. Here is the existing rain garden. And it has some really rundown greenery and just this bench and this concrete structure for seating. And our precedent images include a stage and some other things that just kind of encapsulate the type of feeling we want at our rain garden. We want it to include performing arts, so we'll have a stage and some ornamental plants that also benefit the use of the rain garden. And the rain garden itself will serve as a source of water collection.
So now I'll be explaining like what a rain garden is. So first I'll talk about green infrastructure. Currently on the site, there's already the implementation of green infrastructure. So we have like tree trenches and the rain garden that we showed. So green infrastructure refers to methods of water management often used in cities with the goal of restoring the natural water cycle. So a rain garden is one way to address stormwater runoff. So during a storm, the rain garden guides the water into the ground, like into the soil, and gets soaked into the soil instead of going down pipes and exiting out of nearby water bodies like the Charles River or Boston Harbor. And the benefit of this is that the pollutants won't get into those bodies of waters and will instead be filtered through the soil. So we're proposing to renovate this rain garden that's already there to make it have more functions and more purposes.
So to kind of reiterate what Wayne said in a more concise way on how rain gardens help with rainwater collection. They collect water through rainwater, runoff, storms in general, and the water is then stored in a natural dip that the rain garden forms, and that water is then absorbed by the plants, and the plants remove the water of any minerals and pollutants.
This goes into the rain garden design and materials. Our design of the rain garden focuses not just on the practical benefits of having a rain garden, such as combating pollution, sewage systems, and large bodies of water. The rain garden will also be an important place for young students and community members to gather at the stage and to engage with one another in the performing arts and, to connect. The school being near the museum, that makes us want to create a stage to dedicate a place for the performing arts and to draw in attention in that connection between the museum and the school as being places that inspire creative minds. And going into materials, the rain garden itself has a concrete structure around its perimeter, and the rain garden and the stage are separated by this raised grass bed that has cedar wood around its perimeter. And the stage itself is also made out of cedar wood. And going into the soil, a little specific, but the soil itself is made out of 30% sand, 30 to 40% loamy topsoil, and 30% compost. And the compost bin is actually on site right there in between the rain garden and edible garden.
Here are the flowers and berries that we're planning to use for the rain garden, and we chose them mostly because they're deep-rooted and really well suited for a rain garden. And you could also see the different bloom times and the colors that they'll be during that year. So it'll be a really interesting experience as you see each flower bloom.
This slide is pretty self-explanatory. It shows each of our species that we'd like to implement into the rain garden and their average height and the largest recorded height to a 6-foot tall scale. And now we are going to head over to our edible garden, which is located in the southeast site of our school. So the existing space where our edible garden will eventually be can be so much more. And it already has a unique structure, so we want to play into that in a vibrant and lively way. Food insecurity is a massive problem. There's no surprise to anyone. But to prevent this, we need to start at the root of the problem. So teaching students and the community how to effectively and efficiently grow and maintain their food is the key to this.
Yeah, and another goal for the edible garden was to make the site really kid-friendly and easy to use. So we made sure to provide a lot of seating so that during their lessons, students have a place to sit down. We also want, can you go back? Next slide. Sorry. We also want like community members that are coming here to feel comfortable. So you can see that throughout our designs, we created like a lot of curves to show that. And then on the right, you can see 3 types of planting beds. The first one is used for seeds, and then the second and third one are used for transporting the seeds when they're starting to grow to a larger bed, so that you can like, kind of mix and match, and it's very versatile and playful.
And this is our edible garden season chart, which just shows the colors of the plants throughout the seasons. Some notable ones are asparagus, tomato, string beans, onions, potatoes, celery, peppers, broccoli, etc. Yeah. And this is the current location, or the planned location for the chicken coop. Currently, there's nothing there except some trees, some fencing, and a very barren area. Yeah, grass pavement. And what we hope to do with the chicken coop is teach the kids about cooking, nutrition, animal health, and how to maintain a coop.
Yeah, and here's our proposed design. As you can see from our sites, we want to have some type of educational element. And so we provided seating in the front of the chicken coop. So kids can learn about like how to maintain a chicken coop, animal health. And then for more specifics, you can see like a chicken swing, roost and nesting box, and which are mostly for the chickens. And then on the side, I have a hand washing station so the kids can have easily wash their hands on their side. Next, for the construction and materiality, we chose cedar wood since it's safe for chickens to use, and then we have washed sand under the run. So that's really easy to clean up. So whoever's maintaining the chicken coop can do that. And we're gonna have 3 chickens on each side of the coop. And then for the nesting boxes, we're gonna line it with straw.
And here is the here's the planned location for the shed, and it is on the east side of the school. The current area just has a bench, some windows, and gravel on the floor. And we hope for this area to be reutilized for storage and organization space, and to hold the gardening tools and any supplies they may need.
And for our shed design, we have it in that area that from the last picture, and you can see from the wall that there's ridges which can be used to insert different containers for easy organization. And we're gonna build it out of teak wood, which is real durable, and we want the shed to last.
So now we're going to get into the mural side of this. And currently there are 2 sites that we want to use for the mural. On the south wall, there is a mural already existing there, but on the northern walkway, it is barren. So starting with the southern wall, the existing mural showcases well-known buildings and systems across Roxbury. It shows the first church in Roxbury, it shows the orange line, and it creates a sense of familiarity for the students. It also shows plenty of green space, Boston skyline in the background, and the all too familiar busy roads of Boston. This is what we'd like for it to look like. So our proposal still captures that familiarity through the unique style of Equa Holmes, who is a Roxbury native and a well-known artist in the Roxbury area. And our goal is to reflect the spirit of Roxbury through community, and to reflect the spirit of the Roxbury community and the students through art. And the court would be refurbished to invoke serenity, curiosity, and fun. So on the northern walkway, there's no mural, and it leads to the outdoor classroom and it faces the NCAA. And it's unfortunate because even though it's facing this museum that has such a rich background in history of performing and visual arts, there's nothing there. It's very bare and it lacks any creative direction. So to combat this, we are going to implement more of Ekwa Holmes's art to really tie the school more to the museum, and the mural will lead students to and from the outdoor classroom. So our overall vision, first and foremost, this project means a lot to me. And when I first started, it was amazing to see my peers also have the same amount of passion for this project, because my mom is actually a teacher at this school and she sees the potential in these students and in these kids. And it's clear that they don't have the necessary means to reach the potential that everyone knows that they can reach. Food insecurity is prevalent in this area, and childhood trauma is prevalent in this area. And these kids don't deserve that. They don't deserve to feel hungry. They don't deserve to feel scared. They deserve to feel like kids. They deserve to be happy. And through this project, we want that to be accessible for them, because every child deserves the best. And these kids at the Ellis are no exception. So thank you.
I'm gonna make you cry over here.
Great job. My goodness. What a finish there.
Yeah.
Mubarak, my goodness.
Way to wrap it up.
Congratulations. I see a ton of stuff getting thrown in the chat. Anyone who wants to make a comment can unmute yourself and chime in. I'll just say basically what I said to the last group, really fantastic work, really impressive. I loved the way that you kind of brought us through of showing this is what it is now. These are some of our precedents of what inspired us, and here's the final design. The storytelling there for each space was really, really fantastic. So job well done there. Great presentation and great design.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. No, I must say it was very heartwarming to see like all the activities you thought out for the kids, because it is important to include that, like the educational aspect of it, and like even the design of the shelter, like how like intentional it was. It wasn't just to sit, it was like it also kind of symbolized that shelter for them to come and learn in a safe place. And being in I'm from Boston, and I know like we all know like in Boston, like the different neighborhoods and what they face and different things. So it really reaches home when you know what these kids can go through, and what your communities go through on a daily basis. Basically, it's really like inspiring to see that this is something that you guys can think of for your future generations. So thank you so much for all that work.
I would like to say, sorry. Yeah, that's fine. It's my honor to be one of the mentors for this group during the final week. Yeah, I'm really impressed by the way you show them, just as what Meredith said, the before and after. So yeah, I think you tried pretty hard to persuade the client, if there's any, why you were doing this like replacements of some current garden, of some current landscape into what's in your imagination would be better for the school and for the people. And you put a lot of bullet points there, so we don't need to read a lot of text, and we are like easy to understand what's your like the big idea. So yeah, I think you really did a great job. And congratulations.
Any other comments from anyone online?
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
So I'm Mubarak's mom, and I'm in tears. I'm so happy and so grateful that your team decided to take on this project for my school. I'm not going to go into all of the things that were amazing about about your presentation. It was absolutely dropping amazing. Everything that you touched on, we absolutely need at the school. My only question is, what are the next steps? How can we make this happen? We are working currently on a grant. We have received a grant to study trauma-informed practices at our school. Our school is currently on the list for Mayor Wu's initiative, Green School initiative. I'm just wondering, can this presentation be presented to city and school officials? Like, what can we do next to make this happen?
That is a great question. And I think let's keep that conversation going, because this is why we do these projects, so that everyone in this room, the students of schools, the people that live in Boston, get to see how they can impact the neighborhoods they live in and the places where they are. So I would be happy to continue that conversation with you. Brooke, can we get your mom's contact information from you? Okay.
So Meredith, I can offer, I'm going to be doing a panel in a couple weeks on urban ag with the UI Boston group. And one of the panelists will be part of the City of Boston's Grow Boston initiative. And I'm happy to make an introduction. Shawnee Fletcher is on that.
Okay.
And why wouldn't we?
Yeah.
You know, I think I talked to this team about this, but I think one of the challenges I've seen a lot of efforts to have gardens at schools. And I always come back in September when the gardens should be flourishing, but no one's cared for them over the summer. So one of the things we have to solve for is how we protect all the hard work that goes into if you're going to have students engaged in planting an edible garden, so that it gets maintained over the summer. And so that quite literally the fruits of that labor can be harvested when the kids come back, because I think we've just seen it too much where there isn't or a group to care for it. But that's actually a really great way to engage the community. And I think that's where these schools have an opportunity to be more than just schools and have a use year round. And so I think engaging members of the community and getting them invested as well, and having the opportunity to share some of the things that are grown there with members who would serve as caretakers is a great opportunity. So that's something we can probably do like a little more brainstorming on to make sure that there are caretakers, but why not engage the city and let them know what we're up to? I think there's some really great ideas here. So yeah, well done.
Great. Yeah, thank you for connecting that, Mubarak. Yeah, I didn't know you until like the last few weeks. I'm like, what? Your mom is there?
That's great.